Hi everyone. Here we will discuss about the topics basis of apportionment of overheads and some problems related with primary overhead distribution summary in the chapter accounting for overheads. Apportionment is the division or proportionate allotment of overhead expenses to different departments on some appropriate basis. It is made when an expense cannot be wholly charged to a particular department. There are certain expenses which requires division or apportionment over two or more cost centers or cost units. The important basis for the apportionment of overheads are capital value, floor area, number of workers employed, light points, value of stock, etc. That means some overhead expenses like depreciation of machine, insurance of machines are to be allocated on the basis of its capital value. Then factory rent rates and taxes and insurance of building can be allocated on the basis of floor area occupied by each of these departments. Likewise, we can allocate labor welfare expenses, canteen expenses, supervision charges, etc. on the basis of number of workers employed and lighting charges and power charges on the basis of light points. Here we can see two headings, items of overhead and basis of apportionment. In apportionment, we have to divide the total amount of overhead expenses to each department on some suitable basis. Here we can see that 15 items of overhead and its basis are given. For example, first one, factory rent. Factory rent is to be apportioned among different departments on the basis of floor area occupied by each department. Each of these overhead expenses and basis have some relation. We have already discussed in the topic principles of apportionment that it is based on benefits received by each department or on the basis of survey results, then on the basis of department's ability to pay, etc. Here we can see other overhead expenses like insurance of stock based on value of stock, then motive power based on horsepower of machines, then supervision based on number of workers, stores overhead based on value of direct material, employers contribution to PF based on direct wages, general overhead based on direct wages, then material handling expense based on weight of the materials handled, etc. Based on the apportionment of overheads, we have to prepare a statement known as primary overhead distribution summary. Departmentalization of overheads by allocation and apportionment is known as primary distribution, and the statement prepared is known as primary overhead distribution summary. Let us discuss our first problem related with primary overhead distribution summary. Phenolux Cables Limited has 4 departments, out of which A, B and C are production departments and D is a service department. The following are the costs for a period of 6 months pertaining to these departments. Rent 10,000, repairs 6,000, depreciation 4,500, lighting 1,200, supervision 15,000, fire insurance 5,000, employers contribution to ESI 1,500 and motive power 9,000. These all are indirect expenses or overhead items. We have to divide these items on the basis of the given below items. That means we can see area occupied for each department, number of workers, direct wages, value of plant, value of stock, light points, etc. Apportion the cost to various departments on the most suitable basis. This is our question. For preparing primary overhead distribution summary, first we have to find out the relation between these overhead items and the basis of apportionment. First item, rent. Rent is related with area occupied by each department. we already discussed in our theory portion. Then repairs is related with value of plant and machinery require repairing work. Depreciation is also related with plant and machinery. Then value of plant is the basis for repairs and depreciation. Then lighting is related with the light points. Then supervision is related with number of workers, and employers contribution to ESI also related with the number of workers. Fire insurance is related with the what? Fire insurance is related with the value of stock, and motive power is related with the value of plant. These are our basis of apportionment. Then our next step is the calculation of ratios. Our first basis of apportionment, area occupied. We can see the figures 750, 550, 450 and 250. We have to convert these figures into its smallest value for making our calculations easy. We can divide all these values, all these four values with the common factor 50. So we will get the values 15, 11, 9 and 5. Likewise, we have to convert all these bases of apportionment into its smallest figure. This is our statement showing primary overhead distribution summary. We already found out basis of apportionment and ratios of each overhead items. Here we can see particulars column, basis, ratio, total column and department wise columns. In these departments, Department D is a service department and A, B, C are production departments. Here we can see the first item, direct wages. Direct wages of service department D is treated as its overhead. That means service department provides services to production departments, while that of production departments, it is treated as a prime cost item or direct item and hence ignored. So, in our question, direct wages are given in the basis of apportionment part. From that part, we have to take direct wages as the first item in the statement. And we should allocate the service department amount 10,000 only to our statement. Only to the department of service, not to the production departments. Then we can take each of our overhead items. First item, rent, basis, area occupied, ratio 15 is to 11 is to 9 is to 5. The total amount of rent is rupees 10,000 and that 10,000 is to be divided among the production departments and service department in the ratio of 15, 11, 9 and 5. After direct wages and rent, next item repairs. It is to be allocated on the basis of value of plant in the ratio 4 is to 3 is to 2 is to 1. Rupees 6,000 is the amount of repairs and that 6,000 is to be allocated in the ratio 4 is to 3 is to 2 is to 1. We will get 2,400, 1,800, 1,200 and 600. Next item depreciation. It is also on the basis of value of plant. Then lighting on the basis of light points ratio 15 is to 11 is to 9 is to 5. Then supervision on the basis of number of workers. Fire insurance, value of stock, contribution to ESI, number of workers and motive power on the basis of value of plant. Then some of you may have the doubt as to how to divide these overhead expenses among these four departments. Let us see one example. Our last item motive power 9,000 is the total value. These 9,000 is to be divided among department A like 9,000 into 4 divided by 10 and 10 is the total of 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Then next department, department B 9,000 into 3 divided by 10. Next department C 9,000 into 2 divided by 10. And last department service department D 9,000 into 1 divided by 10. After dividing all these expenses, overhead expenses to each of these departments, then we have to find out the total of each department. Department A Total figure 21,100. Department B 14,830. Department C 10,720 and Department D 15,550. These are the total overhead expenses of each department. This is our primary overhead distribution summary.